Uh, all right. Ta-da! We are live. Hi, I'm Patrick. Welcome to Eight Questions with. The Cheetah is upstairs. He knew that we are going to be talking to Calvin tonight, so he wanted to come out and hang out. We will be talking to our guest Calvin Tucker, also known on Instagram as Black Noah. He is a animal rescuer extraordinaire. Um, he's in Bessemer, Alabama, and he rescues animals. He rescues dogs and cats and um, anything else that needs to be rescued. He will come up there and do his best. He has saved thousands of animals' lives from horrible, horrible lives, horrible fates, be it abusive owners, be it strays, be it abandoned. Uh, Calvin has come out and he has rescued them. Oh, aloha, Mark. Long time no see. But I know you've been around. I know you've been around. Always glad to see the smiling shark. So we are interviewing Calvin Tucker. Uh, he is a he is a animal rescuer based in Alabama. He'll be here in about 15 minutes or so, maybe so. I'm not really sure. Honestly, it probably depends on his feeding schedule. He has a routine that he goes around and he feeds his animals. And yes, they're his animals. He takes care of them. He is a one-man army, basically, in the city itself. Um, he's his Instagram pages. I've known him through Instagram for about maybe about a year and a half, a couple of years. And so he's one of those names that I've had in the back of my head when I started this series, as far as talking to. Um, I've actually interviewed another animal rescuer, my friend Karen Jones. She's based in Georgia, and also another animal rescuer was actress Alyssa Dowling, who has rescued a lot of animals as well. So I love people who do that. I think it takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of dedication, takes a lot of love to go out there and put yourself out there and try to save them all. Um, and the sites that you see, um, I mean, it's enough to break even the strongest person. The abuse and whatnot. Um, so one thing I'm really happy to see that's happening in the United States after a long, long time is that animal abusers are now being recognized for the felons that they are. No, a lot of states are passing felony laws protecting animals. Um, as far as that goes, of course, we still got some city governments that are still anti-animal. Um, some will actually advocate shooting cats, killing them. You can kill cats. Um, there's also extreme bird people who spread the lies that cats kill all the birds, uh, which is bullshit. We do that. Man does that. There's not enough cats to kill enough birds to make a difference. You know, I but you got extremists on both sides, like I suppose. But I'd rather be on the side of the rescuer than not. Some people get overwhelmed by the task. I mean, you have to have a strong soul to do animal rescue. A lot of people want to do it, but they don't know how to do it, and they don't know how to do it responsibly. There's a lot of groups out there that do know how, and they're willing to offer their tips and techniques. Calvin, Flatbush Cats, which is my favorite organization based in New York City. Um, I absolutely that's my that I try to raise money for them every year during my birthday week. Um, so my birthday month actually. Uh, Facebook always lets you always ask, you want to don't would you like to make a want to do something for your birthday? And I always say, yeah, let's have people donate to Flatbush Cats. So, um, but we're gonna do it. So Calvin, we're gonna raise some awareness for Calvin and his mission. He is looking to build a ark, which is his term for animal sanctuary, ark. He's got one at his house now. He's got several cats that are staying there inside, safe and warm and well fed. Um, he's looking to find them good homes, and that's a sign of a good rescuer too, or a good foster. Is You don't want to be a foster fail. Um, that's where unfortunately a lot of hoarders come into play. They mean well, but they get overwhelmed because they want to keep them all, and it's not so easy. Oh, thanks, Hobbs. Uh, so it, so Calvin does it right. I've watched, like I said, I watched him for like the last 18 months, 2 years. Um, he feeds the cats. He goes out there. He puts the right. He builds the right shelters for them. Shelters with hay in it, not blankets. Um, which I didn't know about that until I saw Calvin and Flatbush Cats mention it. Um, he has a feeding. He tries to catch and neuter and release. He's a trap, neuter, release guy. He knows that everybody can't be saved. You can't save feral cat all the time. What you can do is you can stop the cycle of unwanted pregnancies, and that is you could trap them and then neuter them and release them back to their colonies. Um, Cat colonies are an asset to a city or a town. They're not a detriment if you do it right. If you trap them and neuter them and spay them and then release them back, you're getting a mouse or a rat catcher working for you for free. Um, so not every animal can be rescued. So Calvin knows that. He'll talk about that. I thought was really humorous in his story was that he's mentioned this many times before, but he was not a cat guy when he first started out. He was not a cat guy. He didn't really. He says he really didn't even like cats, and I know a lot of people are like that. They don't like maybe they don't like a dog or a cat, and then they'll get around one or even get one. Maybe a girlfriend or a boyfriend will have an animal, and then they get introduced to it, and they end up falling in love with an animal. Um, it's cool. Um, the benefit of the hay versus the blanket is that the blankets get cold. They retain moisture. So, like if there's snow or there's rain, the blankets get wet and they're heavy. They're not dry. They don't stay dry. And so, a lot of times, the cat will be sitting on top of a wet blanket or whatnot, and that's not really what it could literally freeze there. Hay actually it's actually more absorbing. Um, it actually lets the cat heat itself up in a container. Hi, Rebecca. Um, it retains heat better. The animal's heat. Blankets are like I said, they get frozen or they get wet, um, and a lot of times it'll get changed right away. So yeah, um, there's video tips on how to build a cage. You can put in styrofoam in a plastic container. You can put styrofoam in it to make it. You want to make it sort of really small and tight. So when they go inside there and they curl up, the body heat will because a lot of times cats will go in there together, 2 or 3 cats together, and they'll share the body heat, and that enables them to survive. How are you, Rebecca? Um, Feel free to share us out to everybody and anybody in the chat. Um, our special guest will be here in about about 5 or 10 minutes. I don't suspect he'll be dead on time because he has a feeding schedule, and I'm sure, as his cats come first. So if he's running a little late, well, he's running a little late. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This is This is going to be a really important show for us. I'm really happy that you guys are here because um, this is something I want. This is not my first interview with an animal rescuer. I've done two other ones. Um, well, I've done one that I printed, and I know two other ones. I actually got to know the actress Elissa Dowling because she's an animal rescuer. I actually got to know her more as an animal rescuer than an actress, which is really funny. And then my friend Karen Jones, she also is a animal rescuer, and I interviewed her for the blog. Um, uh, Ferret cages. Hey Casey. Ferret cages are really small. Oh, there she is. I was just talking about you, Karen. Uh, yeah, ferret cages are really small for cats. I mean, they're not really designed to catch cats. Um, they're just hey Kalel. Wow, you guys are all coming in. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, you can get there's different types of cats. I mean, you got your drop traps uh, that are put on strings, and then cats go in there. You can make those really big traps, and then you put food in there, and then you try to get like 3 or 4 cats, and then you could drop the cage on them, or you could do singular traps, which is when a cat will go inside a cage, and you lure them in with food, and then the cage will drop. Um, and then what you try to do then is you have a blanket or a sheet, and then you go over there and you put that over the cage, and it helps settle the cat down, so it doesn't stress out. Um, and then you can you could if it's a drop cage, you could transfer them over to smaller cages. Um, Singular ones, you can just you can open it up and feed them into a bigger cage. Trap neuter release is a really good thing. But if you do set a cat trap out, you have to be there for the duration of the trap. You cannot leave a cat. You can't leave a trap there and then go away and come back. You cannot do that. You got to stay with your trap. If you're not catching anything and you want to go home, you take your trap with you. You don't leave it there, um, in case of that. Because basically, if the trap of animal gets caught in it, it's completely defenseless. You don't want to do that. I made a mistake. I was promoting this on Facebook, and I shot myself in the foot, and I accidentally put down for tomorrow on my Facebook promo, and I'm feeling really rather sick about that. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I put the 10th down. I thought it's the 9th. I don't know what I was thinking. Um, Hopefully the folks from Calvin's Instagram page, he got the date right. So hopefully they'll come out and support this. Um, yeah, greetings. Oh, whose birthday? Oh, hey, happy birthday, Kalel. How about that? All right. Uh, yeah, Karen is an animal. She's the animal rescuer I interviewed earlier. I mentioned earlier. She also does rescues in Georgia, and so a lot of what he's dead on time. Greetings, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. How you doing?
Good, good. All right. We were just talking about traps,
All right.
the different types of traps. Yeah. There's another animal rescuer here, my friend Karen Jones, who absolutely adores your work, and she runs a rescue down in Georgia.
All right.
So how was your day today, Calvin?
Long as usual.
Yeah, yeah.
We push through though. You know.
No, no, yeah, I get it. Um, I sort of shot myself in the foot, but I promoted this. I don't know what happened to me. I just had a brain fart. I was pushing this on Facebook, and I didn't realize it until I sat down like 30 minutes before the show that I had accidentally put the wrong date down. Not that I went back and fixed some of them. I fixed about half of them. So I don't know what happened to me. I just was distracted or whatnot. But I pushed. I've been talking about this show ever since I booked it. So hopefully, some people will come out and plus the good thing about these shows are it's the value in these shows are replay.
Right.
People will come back and they'll watch these over and over again. That's really what's important.
Right.
Um, how's the weather down how's the weather down where you're at right now? Is it getting cold down there?
Yeah, it's starting to get cold. It's about 52 in Birmingham right now, and we're about to get some heavy rain this evening.
Hi, Coriander. Coriander's here. She also rescued her cat. She has a cat named Jerry, and Jerry's a rescue. I do believe I think everybody in the chat that has a pet in here is a rescue pet. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so that's a good thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
before we get into it, I want to get a chance for some people to come inside the chat. But maybe we could talk about the cages. Talk to us about a little bit about what kind of cages you use to uh, to secure your animals. I
I
mean,
use
if anybody wanted to help out, let's say they saw a colony of cats by their work or their home place, and they wanted to help out and set a trap to help out. What's the best kind of trap to use?
the Tomahawks are real good. I like to use those. If you're having problems catching one that's really savvy, you can go to drop trap route. So
Uh,
those are two that I like using.
Now, the drop trap, that's the bigger cage, right? That's where you literally put it on a stick
Correct, correct,
and then
correct,
pull it.
correct.
I, I, how do you mask your scent?
I just use long enough string, maybe 20-25 yards, and just
You don't have.
that mackerel is gonna take care of any of that. I feel,
Oh, okay.
you
I was
know,
going to wonder, do you lay it out? Do you wear gloves when you lay it out to mask the scent of your hands? Do you
I
use?
I don't. I use that mackerel. That mackerel works like a charm for me.
That's okay. Yeah, yeah, and they do come to that wet food, don't they?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But if you use that dollar canned mackerel, get some every time, every
Uh,
single time.
is this it's funny too because you think about how cats are known as being very finicky as far as the eaters go, like my the cheetah that I have, he does not like people food at all. He does not like people food. He likes iams. He doesn't really like friskies. um he likes Sheba, but doesn't really like Nine Lives. They're finicky, but yet at the same time, you put something like that out like a macro, and it's like they all come running for it.
Well, they're like us. We know what we like and what we don't like, and you kind of just described Henry. Henry will not eat people food. I sit on the floor all the time when I eat at home, so all my boys are around me, and he or Sylvester will not touch my plate. The Raven, Raphael, they will. Henry will not eat anything other than Iams dry food. If it's a beef or a poultry wet food, he will not touch it. So he's funny. He's a funny guy.
Um, so let's go back. I want to go back to the beginning for you. I mean, I mentioned in the chat here that I've been following your Instagram page for about 18 months now, probably maybe 2 years, 18 months. I've been there for a long time. I haven't been the most vocal but I've been there, and I've been following I've been following, like, when you rescued Moses, uh, uh and several other of your cats. I mean, what I really like about it too is you name every animal as soon as you rescue it. I think that really helps it humanizes them and makes them, it's just not a cat. It's like now it belongs to somebody, Um, but you were known as not as a cat person. You weren't a cat person at all. Were you mostly dogs growing up? I mean, what pets did you have growing up? And have you always lived in Alabama your whole life?
I was born in Compton, California, but moved to Bessemer at a very early age. Um, as far as growing up in pets, I do remember we had a cat. I was too young to really remember, but I do remember we had a cat. Um, I had I had a dog named Brandy. I had a cockatiel named Cocktail. This was pre-teens and early uh, teenage years. But outside of that, just I really wasn't an animal person, like for real. And to be honest, excuse me, at that age, I really wasn't ready for animals at that age.
Um, do you think that's a problem do you think it's one of the reasons we have the problem we have in America as far as the dogs and the cat situations is because a lot of parents give animals to kids and the kids just aren't ready for it?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I know I wasn't. Looking back on it, there's no way I should have had a dog. I spent no time with him. In the beginning, I did because I was excited. I might have been 11 years old, 10 years old. I was excited. I would walk him in the yard and around the neighborhood, the block, and a month later, he was just in his, my dad and them had paid to get a fence put up and got him a dog house, and basically he was just in there, and I didn't spend any time with him, and I think that's a big part of the problem we have. Parents get young kids, and I'm not saying all young kids because there's some that's mature enough to handle it and
Sure,
love and nurture that animal or that pet. So I'm not speaking about all young kids. I'm not saying that that should be a rule set in stone that no young kids under 12 should get pets. I'm not going that route because I think there are some that are ready.
sure.
I just speaking upon myself, I know I wasn't, and I know a lot of people, a lot of kids aren't. They're excited in the beginning, but and even with the parents, once that cute little puppy starts to grow and then it gets big, now you don't really want it. You don't want them inside or things of that nature.
I've noticed that mostly. I noticed that problem mostly with pit bulls. People always want a pit bull for a status symbol, like I got a pit bull. But once that pit bull gets a little bigger and a little bit, like he's no longer a puppy anymore, he's like a full grown dog. Um, they're abandoned. I mean, the last 10 shelters I've been to, when I walked in there to see the dogs, I easily say 90% of the spaces are filled with pit bulls. Um, I think that's a, I think that's almost criminal. It's something needs to be done about that.
Absolutely.
Uh, I know New Zealand has they have a rule in the New Zealand and Australia where you are not allowed to get a dog like a pit bull they actually have you learn how to drive, you take a driving test.
Mm,
They actually have a dog test where you have to show that you can control your dog.
mm,
You have to have a certain amount of leash, and you have to be able to show that you can control your dog. And they run, they put you through your paces, including showing other dogs. If you can't control it, you can't have it.
right.
The,
I think that need to be
these,
implemented worldwide.
yeah, that's something I was going to ask you. Do you think? Um, and that right there, the pit bull thing, I don't really see that more as a kid problem. I see that more as an adult problem there. I see a lot of adults that they'll go out there and get the animal, and then they won't want it, and then they'll abandon it. Um, so what got you started into this? I mean, did you start? You started when you're in Alabama, then I take it, because you said you moved there when you were young. So
Right.
how old were you when you first became aware that you wanted to help out? I mean, it must have started really young.
Oh no, no, no. I hated animals. I hated animals all the way up until 5.5 years ago, 6 years ago, when I met Henry. Um, Henry started all of this November 15th, 2015. That's when that's when it started.
Now, do you think? I think, knowing your heart, I think hate's too strong. I definitely think maybe you were more indifferent to him.
Dislike, hate is a very strong word. Dislike, hate, indifferent, whatever you want to say. I did not want to be around cats. I
Yeah.
would not be around. If you and I were good friends or co-workers and you had a cat, I would not come to your house. I would
Oh,
not.
now, were you allergic to him?
I was allergic to him. I was very allergic when I first brought Henry home. It
Yeah.
was rough. The first 2.5 weeks was really really rough.
Yeah, I had a feeling about the allergies, because most people who are allergic to dogs and cats, they have an aversion to it because of the reaction of their allergies.
Yeah,
That's a very common trait, super common. But you know that now. You know that now.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people, they say, I don't like dogs or cats. The first question I ask is, are you allergic? And most of the time they're sitting there going, that's me. And of course they're not going to want to be around or a dog or a cat. That then they get all choked up. They have a hard time breathing. Of course you want to be around that. That's natural.
Right.
Um, so uh, so 5 years ago you met Henry. Now who is Henry? And how
Henry
how did he change the game for you?
Henry is the first cat that I rescued. He was a little kitten, about 4 months old. Showed up to my job, like I say, November 15th, 2015, at 2:45 p.m. I was walking out, put my stuff in the car, get ready to leave from work, and there he was. He was sitting by my front passenger tire, and we just looked at each other for a while, and he kind of scampered off maybe 10 yards, turned around, and I went back inside because I work with kids with autism and Asperger's. So I went back inside, and all I could find that was in the cabinets to give him at the time was some goldfish crackers. So I rinsed the salt off of those, gave him some in a bowl, gave him a bowl of water, and he ate those crackers, and that started it. That was the day it started.
So did you take him home the very same day?
No, I fed him for 45 days. December 10th, I'm sorry, January 10th, 2016, 45 days later, that's when I took him home. I had to gain his trust first. He's a little kid and he was scared of me, so he wasn't going to let me just catch him.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And at
Um.
that point, I didn't even know if I wanted him. I just know the way he looked at me, it did something to me that I had never felt before. So that's how it
Um.
started.
Now, yeah. I mean, yeah. Cats. Cats. What defines what a feral cat? How do you know when a cat's feral versus domesticated?
I mean, feral cat is gonna be wild, spitting at you, hissing, scratching. Feral cats are the ones out there fighting like the big toms and things of that nature. But to me, there's a difference between feral and skittish. and basically that's what Henry was. He was a little kitten, so he hadn't all the way went feral yet because he was still young. So you got feral cats that have been out there for years that that they're just a lot of people like to say they're unadoptable. I don't agree with that because I have several here now. One of the most I've TNR'd well over 700 cats. I've gotten homes for 149 to date, and I have one here named Blackie, who out of the 700 that I've TNR'd and the 149 that I've gotten homes for, he is one of the two most feral cats I've ever dealt with in 5.5, 6 years. And now he's a lap baby. I posted him last night on Instagram. So it's just what you put into them is what you're gonna get out of it. If you don't put any time into it, they're gonna be feral.
Uh, yeah, fair. Yeah, fair. It's a problem. I mean, and the thing is, though, during colonies, I mean, a lot of times we'll, like I follow flatbush cats, and they mention about a lot of times a cat will look up be a feral, because they've been outside, but you can definitely tell that they're not based on their behavior. They're the ones that will come up to you, and maybe that and they're still they've obviously been homed, they've been dumped. I mean, they may not let you pick them up right away because they're scared, but they're not exactly feral either. Maybe
I don't classify that as a feral cat. That's a
right.
skittish. That's more of a skittish cat. I think there's a difference. And I'm not by any means am I saying all feral cats can be made into lap babies because it's not gonna happen. Some of them are
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
No.
But
I mean,
yeah, I got one here that was totally feral, totally. And now I mean this guy's like the tamest cat in the house, and there's 20 here right now.
um, what now? When you first started, after you rescued Henry, I mean, what was what triggered you to decide to do this to help out more? I mean, here you are, you got Henry, you're sneezing, you're wheezing. I mean, it must have taken a little bit of time for you to, I mean, to overcome that. I mean, how did you overcome your allergic reactions? Did you go get medication for that?
A friend of mine in San Diego named Jennifer. I was close to giving up. I was close to I was telling my mom I can't do this. It was rough. I would walk in the house and my eyes would immediately, and my allergies are already bad. Like I can't be around fresh cut grass. Whenever I'm driving and someone's cutting grass and I see them, I have to roll the window up. Dust triggers it. Grass triggers it. Um, and I get bronchitis as well. So dealing with Henry, a friend of mine, it was rough. Throat itching, eyes watering, sneezing, coughing. It was bad for like I'll say first 14 to 17 days. But a friend of mine in San Diego, she told me to give it a month, and she told me to take Alivert, not Allegra, but Alivert, and I would take one in the morning before work, one when I would get home in the evening, and I would say about the end of that month, I didn't notice it anymore. I think my body just got immune to it.
Is King Henry short hair?
Yeah, he's a short hair.
Yeah. Um, I know that short hair it's a lot more easier to adapt to than long hair. Long hair, that's tough. That's tough because they retain their dander. Um, but yeah, Paladin, the Paladin. I had a long hair. Derek, he was long hair, and then Paladin, he's a short hair. Um, I always feel really bad when I hear people are allergic to dogs or cats. I feel so sad for them, because of all the joy they're missing.
Hmm.
And I've had people come inside our house that were allergic to cats, and they always sit there and say, "Well, every time I go inside the house, they always come to me." I'm like, yeah, of course they're going to come to you because you never look at them, you never interact with them, and so they see you as someone they can dominate. So that's the reason why they come over and jump on you because you're scared of them, and they
Right.
know it, they sense it. Um, I always tell people with allergies, the first thing they do is to go over there, pet them on his head, say hi, how are you, get to know, they don't say, hey, I acknowledge you, I mean, I see you, and then after that they'll leave you alone because they don't really care about you after that.
Right. Right.
um, so Oliver is what you took. So now that you've taken that, and now that then it must have been really cool though after that when you were able to pick up Henry without worrying about sneezing, a hack, and a coughing. I mean, well, do you remember the first time you were able to pick him up without any of that and just like,
I was picking him up every day. Like once he got home, I was picking him up every day, just pushing through it. But like I said, at the end of the month, I didn't notice it anymore. It was gone. And I who knows? I still could be allergic. I might just be immune to it now.
it could be?
I
I
got
mean,
I got
my
20
mind.
in I got 20 in the house right now. I don't feel any, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty of dandruff in here, even though I run a air purifier in every room. And I just think I build up immunity to it. But I was picking him up all the while, during it and afterwards.
Um, why are you how did you I mean, this is a really cool thing about your rescue is when did you decide that you were going to give every cat a name as soon as you got it?
Well, actually, I don't do it as soon as. And to be honest, the same friend in San Diego, she told me, because I was doing like a little journal of Henry every day. I knew nothing about cats. I was super green, like I said, didn't like them at all. So every day I was videotaping Henry at work, and while I was feeding him and getting to know him. So there's like a little journal of our from day one to the day I took him home. And she told me, I would say maybe 3 or 4 days, and I got to sit down and get on his level and give him a name.
Yeah.
With him, he just looked like a Henry to me. And every cat and every dog that I've ever named, um, I found homes for 54 dogs. Um, I have about 6 dogs in foster care right now. Every dog and every cat besides Sylvester, which is the second cat I rescued, and I went with Sylvester because he's a tuxedo, Looney Tune Sylvester.
Mhm. Sure.
Every other cat or dog, I've always just let God give me the name.
Uh,
So some of it, some might come that same day. There's been some that it took me a few days to name them because I just don't look at them and say, "Oh, that's your name." It's I just let it come to me, and then that's what their name shall be.
um, I'm gonna read a comment here. Susan B says Calvin is one of the best people. One of the best people, and I'm so happy he's on this earth. Yeah, we all are.
Thanks,
That's for
Susan.
sure. I don't toss that word around very lightly. Like when I mentioned you being a hero and all that, and I don't use that word lightly at all. Um, very very rarely do I truly use that word, but I think that anybody who does animal rescue work, especially you, I mean, I've seen, I mean, I've seen other groups, and that's the key is groups, because they have people there. You're a one man crusade. Um, that's something I wanted to ask you about too. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. Um, why is it? I mean, have you ever had any support at all from your community? Has anybody ever come up to you and said, "Hey, I'd like to help out," and then stayed with you and learned how to do it? I mean, has it always been just you, Calvin? Have you just it's just been you during this time?
I'm more so of a loner. I like being by myself. Um, I got burnt out in the streets early. I changed. It's no secret. Everybody who knows me, I've been an open book um, with all my supporters. I've been an open book. They know the backstory. I changed my life. I was heavy in the streets, changed my life. So once I changed my life, I don't really, like being around crowds or a lot of people. A perfect evening to me is coming home, getting some dinner, sitting on the floor with my four cats, watching some movies. That's what I prefer to do. To answer your question, I've had people that, you know, I got people that help me, that fosters for me. I got people in place that'll feed for me if I need it. I'm stubborn, so flu, um, colds, sprained ankles, swollen knees. I'm gonna go feed because I don't. That's just me. I'm
Now,
gonna push. I'm gonna push through it. So unless it's something like when I had my spinal fusion last year, that was the only time I really asked people to feed for me. And even then, I was back in less than a month feeding because
yeah.
I don't know. That's just who I am.
Um, Cal, Susan mentions that you support other rescues too. Um, yeah, I don't think. I mean, I don't think that it's not uncommon that that I know a lot of I know a lot of people who work rescue, and they'll they'll be the first to tell you that they're not people. They're not people. After a while, they don't really like people too much. After a while,
I'm a people's person. I can get along and talk to anybody. I don't care if it's in a boardroom with suits or I can go to the hood and talk to gangsters. It's just I prefer to be alone or
yeah,
with animals. And
yeah,
plus there's some, local, there's some people that I helped out tremendously get on, and grow their rescue and things like that. And you get burned. You get burned a lot in this game. This rescue is like it's treacherous, man. It's more, I tell people all the time, rescue is worse than the street game. As far as, all the backstabbing and backbiting and people cutting each other throats out. It's like they forget what we're here for, to help the animals. There's so many different rescues beef against each other, and that's why I just like being by myself because I'm a different type of person. Like, you know, so
I've never heard that before. What causes infighting among rescues is because some are too extreme. I mean, we know that most animal hoarder situations always come from misguided people who want to rescue animals, and they don't have the training or the skill set to do it. They don't have and they don't have the money to do it. They don't have the resources. They may have a house, but that takes a lot more than just to have a house in order to do a rescue. Um, what causes the infighting? I mean, it's, that's new. That's new to me. I never heard that before.
man, that's every day, all day, all across the country. People are just jealous. People, I know people. There's people that hate me that never even met me. They just go on what other people have said about me, so they'll just take it and run with it. But never even met me, never even. And it's all because I may be on the news, I may be in a magazine, I may be doing a show with half Cheetah will view, and they're not, and they just can't stand it. I call it hypnotized with hate. They just hate you for because you're doing, you know, I don't know, man. I just keep my nose. I just keep focused and keep saving animals.
Yeah, that must be a mind blower. Um, that is a mind blower. I'm sitting here. I'm actually sort of like trying to figure that out. I'm like, wow, um, because that's one thing I mentioned. It's like I see you work on your videos, and I'm like, I don't ever see anybody with you. So I was always wondering, like, is it the lack of compassion? It's the lack of empathy that people just, they know that you're out there. They know that you're what you're doing. It's like, why, does anybody ever offer their help? Like, hey, I can help out at least one day a week. If you
Yeah,
give me a,
I've
if give
gotten
me
that. I've gotten that plenty. I get that all the time, and I have a select few women.
a,
Um, my nephew, he helps me out a lot. He comes by the house, and like I said, there's 16, 17 cats downstairs now. Since we're helping a young lady out keep her cat. She was
Right.
evicted, so we're helping her. So 17, he comes over 4 or 5 days a week and scoop litter boxes and feed and socialize and plays.
Wow.
I got a few select women that I trust and care for. I got a friend, a male, who he'll go out and feed if I really need it, but I just prefer to do it because I know it's gonna get done, and um, I know I'm going. I'm gonna tell you what really burnt me out with that.
Sure.
There was a lady that I was entrusting to feed two spots for me. I feed all over. I feed in two different counties. This spot was literally walk out of her door and then feed, like literally like 20 yards. All right, walk out your back door and the alley is right there. Just feed. And it was a situation where, yeah, I fed them, and something led me over there one day, and it was like 3 minutes after I asked her has she fed, and everything was just dry and empty, and I was like, never again, never again will I trust anybody to do that, because I know I'm going.
Right. Um, what was the first time like? What was the first time you actually went out to? How did you decide to start feeding, and what steps did you take to do it? I mean, you got King Henry at home, and I mean, did people start? Did people? I mean, obviously, people knew you as not, as a cat person, and then just because you have a cat doesn't mean you're a rescue. So, how did you get into the game? I mean, how did you get into the rescue? Did someone come up to you and mention, hey, you saved Henry? Would you like to save other animals too, or did you notice other animals around your work?
I thought working with kids, I worked with DYS, DHR, at risk youth and group homes, kids with autism and Asperger's. I did that for 21 years, and I thought that was my calling. But it's working with animals is my true calling, and it was already written before my parents even met. So God had already planned that. As far as the getting really in the game, I rescued Henry, and I'm pretty sure it happens like this with, I'm gonna say, in the 90% of people who do what we do. It starts by accident. I rescued Henry. Going to a pet store to get cat food for Henry. I noticed a couple of cats over behind the dumpster at a restaurant. You
Yeah.
go, you go over there, you start feeding them, and now that's stop one. So you're gonna go start feeding them every day. You go to a gas station across town, and there go three or four more hanging around the dumpster. You run in the gas station and buy cat food. That's stop two. Because with
Wow.
me, once I see them, I must continue going back. So wherever it at, and then it just they go on my list, and I start feeding them every day. And I would say after maybe about, I don't know, maybe 5 months of doing that, the stops kept growing and kept growing. But like at one particular spot, there was maybe three or four cats I was feeding. 5 or 6 months later, I noticed there's 8, 9 cats, and I'm like, hold on, and some of them are little. I'm like, hold on, what's going on? Never heard of TNR a day in my life. Never seen a trap, because I didn't even trap Henry. I had befriended him, so I just picked him up and put him in a carrier.
Right.
There's a lady here. Now she's a real hero. Her name is Kathy Freeland. I had found her on Facebook some kind of way. She showed me how to set a trap. She took me out the first day to ever trap in my life, which was in 2016. That day we caught 9 cats and a raccoon. We released the raccoon. The 9 cats went to Alabama spay and neuter, and they were spayed and neutered. And ever since then, it's been on. It just became an addiction to me.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say you have to start trapping them sooner than later
Yeah,
because they'll just grow. I mean, once you feed 2 or 3 cats, um, they just it's almost like they send out a telepathy signal like, hey, this guy's over here and he's dropping some good food, and the
Like a
next thing you
neon sign
know,
above your head. Will feed.
yeah, have food, will feed.
Right.
Um, let's see. Susan's mentioning what's unique about Calvin is that he is what you see. No smoke and mirrors. He does what he says he's going to do. Yeah, that's yeah. I picked that up right away. Yeah, you're a straight shooter. I mean, that's it is what it is. Um, I guess I guess you know I guess some of the things it isn't all just feeding cats too. I mean, you've had to tackle some hard cases. You've had to go against some owners that have been abusing their animals, and you are not very tolerant of that, are you?
At all. But once again, that comes from my background. Like I said, I've been very open since day one. I am who I am. I'm not gonna hide it from nobody. I'm not ashamed of it because it made me who I am. And if I wasn't who I was, and I give all the glory and praise to God for changing my heart, but I really was out there in the streets, gang banging, selling drugs, shooting guns, did it all. And that's why I'm able to navigate through Bessemer. And if you do a little homework on Bessemer,
No,
it's going to be one of the roughest cities, not just in Alabama, but the United States.
yeah.
Um, by far, I think the most dangerous city, maybe with Anniston in Alabama. There's murders going to be every single day, every day. I've lost 40 friends to gun violence. I sat down one day and I just wrote down all the friends I had lost that was killed by guns, not car accident, heart attacks, drug overdoses, just guns, and it was 40. And it's just bad. Excuse me. But
Yeah,
that growing up like that, and like I said, I changed my life, gave my life to God. That's why I go so hard with this. That's why, I'm able to knock on those doors. Yeah, my folks, my parents, some friends, they all fear that, one day I'll meet my demise like that. But, you know, I keep my faith in God, and I'm always protected. I'm always protected.
the Bible says there's no greater love than one who lay down his life for his fellow man.
There you go. And God don't give us the spirit of fear. The fear of the spirit of fear. He doesn't give us the spirit of fear. And the only thing I fear is God. So, I don't
I
know.
think the only thing to get let's see. Um yep. Coriander saying, thank you so much, Calvin, for all you do. You're a special one to go out and take care of all these animals.
Thank you.
Uh
Thank you.
thank you, Coriander. Um yeah, I've seen some of your I've watched some of your rescues, and you I mean, I always worried more than like if you went across like a pack, a dog pack, it's like because you're right, Bessemer's hellhole. I mean, Detroit's bad, but seeing Bessemer through your eyes, yeah, that's not a pleasant city. And it must be very hard to navigate it. Um,
You'll lose your life in Bessemer over a dollar bill, a single dollar bill. You'll lose your life down here. I've seen it happen. Um, and as far as the dog situation here, man, it's like a third country. I'm pretty sure you've seen all the dogs that's just in on chains big enough to pull cars, and 20, 30 pound chains around their neck, no houses,
no,
and just something in me. I got a friend, and he was like, he worry about me, and I appreciate it, but something in me just won't allow me to drive by a house and see a dog with a big chain, and I can know it's a drug house. I can know the activity that's going there. The streets talk. I can know exactly what I'm about to do and what I'm facing when I knock on this door. But I got to do it. I got to do it. So
um, do you find most people when you confront them about this, when you or not even so much confront, but you knock on the door and say, "Listen, you know, your dog is suffering. Let me help you. Let me let me help you. I'll take. Let me surrender him to me, and I'll make sure that he'll get he'll get rehomed. He'll get socialized if he can, and then he'll find a home. I mean, do you find a lot of people just is it pride that forces them to, is it pride that keeps them from accepting that help? I mean, or do you get a lot of people that when you do knock on the door and you do point out what they're doing, do they turn around, sit there, and they just like they're ashamed, and they'll sit there and say, "Yes, please take them."
It's mixed. It's mixed. For the most part, the reception, most of them are very receptive because I don't go pointing the finger and judging.
Right.
I'm from that environment. I was once part of the problem there, so I understand it, and I feel like you have to be able to speak their language. And so I don't go pointing the finger like the other day. Um, when I went by and the girl wanted to surrender the rabbit, and another lady right down the street wanted to surrender her dog. I didn't go pointing the finger, and she came to the door very hostile. 5 minutes later, we were sitting in her, standing in her driveway, laughing and joking and exchanging numbers and stuff, so I can help her out. So I don't go pointing the finger. I go as an ally. I offer to pay for all vetting. If they don't have houses, I'll try to get houses donated, or I'll buy them. I'll buy the straw. Um, so I go as an ally. But my main concern and my main focus is getting that dog off the chain or with me. Most people are receptive to the help. I offer food. Um, a lot of pride comes into play, and they'll say no. They're flat out refuse the help. We don't want the food, but yet and still, I've been watching this dog for a week now, and I see there's never any food in the bowl. No matter what time I come, I never come the same time, so I can try to make sure that there's some food in the bowl. And I know for a fact this dog is not eating because the ribs are touching, sores all on him, and the pride will still stop them from doing the right thing. And I'm gonna go back the next day, and I'm gonna go back the next day, and I'm gonna go back the next day. And if that don't work, then that's when I get Doom involved, and
Yeah.
basically Doom, he'll come and get the dog, and he'll do right by the dog.
Yeah. Let's talk about Doom because I mean, I love Doom, but I'm also worried for Doom you know, because Doom is a badass, but he ain't bulletproof, and I get scared for you for that. But talk about Doom a little bit, what you can share us a little bit about Doom, what you're
Well,
comfortable.
nobody Doom is like an urban legend in Bessemer. Everybody heard of him, but nobody knows who he is for real. And basically, Doom, if you don't do right by your dog, Doom is gonna come get him and find a home for him. He's been known to rehome dogs to very loving homes, and he'll leave Polaroid pictures of the dog in their new home in the beds. I don't know if he's tying the people or letting them know, hey, this is how your dog should have been taken care of. Um, as far as Doom being hurt, I don't think Doom would be hurt. Doom, I think he knows how to move. I think he knows when to move. I think, I think he knows what he's doing, whoever he is or whoever she is, but what we do know about Doom is it comes from a lack of um, a lack of animal control in Bessemer. People like myself that's talking to the police, trying to get them to, hey, go do a welfare check on this dog. This dog is dying. And I think what really made Doom come into play is, I know one situation myself trying to get animal control. There's one officer that's animal control, and even a Bessemer police Bessemer policeman told me this lady is useless. His words, quote unquote, she will not come out unless the dog is dying or dead. And I was trying to get her to come out, trying to get police to come out, and basically this dog died. And I think that's what whoever doom is, I guess they said it'll never happen again on their watch. So if
You know,
if
it,
animal control is not going to do anything, they will.
you know, I mentioned before you got here, I was mentioning how it's finally taken us all this long time as a country. We're finally after decades, that we're starting to realize that in order to stop crime, you got to identify when it starts. And to
Mm,
me, one of the first things you can tell, to identify a crime where it's starting, is the treatment of an animal.
mm,
It's like, to me, it's like I just feel like if you don't stop an animal abuser today, you're going to be digging up a child tomorrow.
exactly.
They're hand in hand. That's been
Exactly.
proven over. Has been proven over and over and over. Most serial killers always start with small animals, defenseless animals, and they move up to kids, then they
Exactly.
move up to people. Let's just stop that right up. If you stop, let's just stop it. And that means like, okay, someone's abusing your dog. Okay, well, we'll go out there and write them a $50 ticket. No, you don't need to do that. There needs to be a felony. It's like if your dog dies of starvation, you're gonna go. You need to go. You need to go away for 2 or 3 years to think about that. You don't.
Exactly.
You don't deserve. You don't deserve to breathe the same air as free people. Um, and I do you think? I mean, wow, for Bessemer, this Bessemer. I mean, do the cops seem to realize that? Are they sympathetic to what you do? Do you ever get calls from the cops saying, "Hey, Calvin, I got a dog here, that could use a little help," or there's a new colony over here by this store over here. Do they ever support you in that way?
Man, you can shoot a dog in front of a Bessemer police cop and nothing's gonna happen. Absolutely nothing. They don't care. They don't
Wow.
care. It's horrible here. We need just Alabama as a whole. We need tougher laws. We need tougher laws to protect these animals, or they're going to continue to suffer. I lived up in Boston shortly for like a year, and it was totally different. It was like it was like a fantasy world. Like I didn't see any stray animals that whole year, and just up north. Period. It's just better for animals. The South is terrible for animals. And like I say, I'm just speaking on my state. I feel it's the worst. Pretty sure there's some other ones out there that's just as bad, but Alabama is horrible for the rights of animals, and that we got to change that some kind of way. We got to change it. We got to be the voice.
Let me ask you some tough questions here. I'm gonna open up a lid here because I
Come
really
on.
want to know. I really want to know.
All right.
Now, Bessemer is a mostly African American city.
Right.
Do you think it's a cultural thing that we see this sort of abuse, or is it a legacy of poverty? Is it the poverty, or is it a cultural aspect, or is it a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both because I've seen some poor white people treat their animals like crap too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
However, however, with that said, and this gonna piss some people off, but I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna always keep it real.
yep.
Always keep it real, man. Um, as far as Bessemer, people get dogs just for security systems. People get dogs for security systems, just to bark to let them know an intruder is in the yard or whatever. That's not the part that's gonna piss people off. This is the part that's gonna piss people off. But I don't care. Just gonna be real. Me and and I don't know if I should say this, but I'm gonna be real with it. Um, and I'm not gonna say all. I'm not gonna say all. I've adopted 149 animals, 149 cats, two forever homes, 54 dogs. It's about to be 55. He's about to go to Wisconsin, no, Connecticut, Connecticut before Christmas. Tiger, the little dog with the snaggletooth. If
Yes.
you've seen him, I rescued him a couple of weeks ago. He'll be 55. And I'm not going to say this about all black people. So I don't want all black people to be offended, because there are some black people that a black family just took a dog from me in Georgia, Calais, the little white and black pit bull mix. He went to Georgia. But if I adopt to black families, they're gonna have to be upscale and about something. And this may rub some feathers here, but I'd much rather my dogs and cats go to white families. I'm just keeping it real because that's what I see.
Yeah,
They're gonna take better care of the animals. And I
I,
bust my
I
butt and I put my life on the line for these animals. So that's not
the
all
reason
black people. There's not all
no,
black people now.
no. Um, yeah, that's been the that's been the yeah. Let's just keep it real. I mean, I've seen that up here in Detroit too. Um, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's like that you got an animal, you got a dog. I don't see too many. I don't see too many families, African American families adopt cats. I see dogs, and I don't, and I was just wondering, if is it just, it's a hard question to ask, to think about. It's like, is you got to think that these people at one time they loved their animal, they loved it at one time, right? But I mean, watching you and watching your city, it's soul crushing to sit there and see the whole damn city doesn't give a rat's ass about these animals. I mean,
Man,
yeah,
I see so
you,
many dogs dead in the street.
yes,
I counted four dogs on one street today dead. Dead. One street, from one stop sign to the next stop sign. One street. There was four dogs dead, laying in the street side of the road. I actually got out and put one out of the road into the grass. Tomorrow, I'll take my shovel and I'll bury them, because I try to bury every dead animal I see. But man, it sucks down here.
I used
Just
to do
it's
that too.
bad.
I used to do that too, Calvin. Me and my wife, we lived on an apartment, and we used to call it the Bloody Mile. And I used to take a shovel, and I buried anything from a baby raccoon up to a 80-pound snapping turtle that got hit by a car. Um, yeah, I get it. Um, I wanted to ask you that question because I saw that, and I know that Bessemer is mostly an African American city, and I just wanted to know, was that just was it just poverty? Is it just cultural? Is it legacy? From generations of poverty? Or is it just
I
people
think
don't
it's all
care?
I think it's all of the above: legacy, poverty, and cultural. I definitely do.
Um, so let's go back to now. You mentioned you rescued 149 cats and 55 dogs, but let's be honest with each other. You've touched the lives of thousands of animals, not just hundreds, but thousands.
Yeah, those are the ones I've got.
Every
Those are the
yeah.
ones I've gotten homes for. If you count all the all the TNR animals, definitely surpass 1,000. And then there's other animals like the pig. You saw the pig a couple of months ago, about 3 months ago. I rescued in the alley, me and my nephew. There's been two alpacas that was rehomed. I rehomed a tarantula for a guy. So I rescued a possum this past summer that was hit and going in circles. And I got him down to the vet and got him treated up. And actually, I released him back in the apartment complex. So yeah, it's all kind of animals.
Now, have you undergone any formal training since you started doing this? Have you like gone to any classes or anything, or you just rely on your experience to carry you through?
Just learning on the job day by day.
Um, so what's the bet? What's the typical day like for you? I mean, for when you get up, let's say tomorrow morning, what's walk us through a normal day for you?
Well, if it's any other day besides Monday and Tuesday, that's when I do my trappings, because the clinic um they do intakes Mondays and Tuesdays. Now I will trap if there's a hurt cat or something like that on another day, but tomorrow I'm gonna give you real life schedule tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'll get up at 6:55. I'll feed my four boys upstairs. I'll set my alarm for 7:30. I'll lay back down to 7:30. Then I'll go downstairs and I'll feed 17 cats. I'll then scoop all of their litter boxes and make sure everybody got fresh water. I'll make sure I scoop my boys' little boxes upstairs, make sure that they got fresh water. I'll then give Raphael, my diabetic cat, his insulin shot. I'll load all the poop and litter up, put it in the back of the truck. I'll hit the dumpster. Then I'll head to Bessemer. I live 45 minutes away from Bessemer now, so I'll drive 45 minutes to Bessemer. I'll
Oh, you're
start at
close.
stop one and I'll feed there. Once I get there, I clean the bowls out, water bowls, food bowls, clean them out, give them fresh food, give them fresh water. I'll sit around and talk to them for 10 or 15 minutes. I just don't dump the food and then I'm out. Sit
Right.
around and talk to them for a minute. I make sure everything is looking good because there's dogs in one spot. So I just have to make sure everything is looking good. I observe, make sure my warming houses are okay. I made sure the plastic tubs that I use as my feeding stations, I turn them on their side, put their water bowls in there and their food bowls so they don't get rained on. And I'll make sure all of them are okay. Then I hit the next stop. So all in all, it takes about 4 hours to feed all of my locations. I'll then drive 45 minutes back home. Then I'll do what I did that morning all over again. I'll feed my four boys upstairs. Then I'll go downstairs and feed 17 more. So once I get home, it don't stop. Like, it's not just you can walk in, take a shower, and just sit down and relax. Once I come in, I have to feed 21 cats and scoop 23 litter boxes. So that's about another hour and a half. And
And all one thing too.
I have to do it when I first come in, or I won't do it. If I sit down and get lazy, then I'm not going to do it. So I have to do it when I first get in. Then I'll take me a shower, eat me something, sit down and relax for about 30 minutes. And then I'll start spending time with all the cats in all the different rooms. So I'm a,
When you do it, on your routes, or do you have allies on your routes? I mean, do you have businesses that help you, that support you? I know that there was one. I know you had trouble with one lady behind a restaurant who wasn't letting you feed your animals until I think the restaurant itself came up there and helped you. Didn't they let you post cameras on their property to catch your because you're sabotaging your work?
well, what it was, she wasn't stopping me from feeding them. She would just steal the stuff. And she was the property manager of a little rundown hotel, rundown apartment complex that was right behind the alley where I fed at. So basically, once a restaurant did let me post some cameras, and basically once, because the police was like, well, hey, um, just can't say that she's doing it. You would have to have proof. So once I got proof, uh, basically, I didn't even go back to the police at that point. I went to her and I showed her the picture, and the problem just stopped. It stopped.
Right.
So
Um, do you have a good relationship with the administration of Bessemer and the police department? I mean, do they recognize what you're trying to do, or is it just a lack of money, or is it truly a lack of empathy? I mean, do they not care, or is it just something, or is it something that they just feel so frustrated and helpless about? They're other than the one animal control officer who doesn't give a shit.
I don't think they really care, man. But I don't get bothered. I don't get bothered. I see police all over Bessemer. They'll throw their hands up, blow the horn at me when they see me out. Um, some city workers. accidentally, and they wasn't doing this to be. There was no malice behind it. They threw all of my warming houses away at one spot.
Mm.
About 9, 10 of them. Threw all of my plastic tubs away, all of my bowls. I guess they thought it was trash. I don't know. But the gas station lady, I went in and she rewinded the tape. We saw the city truck. We saw the workers doing it. I recorded that with my phone. I went to City Hall and they wrote me a check. Actually, they paid me double the stuff, the amount. So I reimbursed. I mean, I bought everything that I had, and then I had like double the amount to buy more food. So, I don't get any pushback from the city or anything.
Do they
Like, but
call you? Do they call you to help out if they like
nah,
sometimes you'll hear about an animal hoarder situation. Do they ever call you and sit there and say, "Hey, Calvin, we have a situation here. Can you come help us out?" Because they
nah,
know your work.
nah. I never got those calls.
Uh,
I get those calls from civilians, but not the police.
hmm.
I think the police know I move a little different, and they have to keep it right.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Um, I- that's a tough question to ask. I mean, or to deal with. I mean, do a lot of people want to go into rescue? What are like two or three of the things if someone came up to you and said, Calvin, I want to do what you do? Um, what are like the five biggest tips that you give somebody just you know before they got into it? What would be five things you tell them to be aware of before they to get into rescue?
Five things to be aware of, or five things to
Not
do.
to, five things not to do. If you're gonna be rescue, if you're gonna be a rescue, they're probably what's the five best things that they should do?
Should do.
Yes.
Um, Number one, I'm gonna say, make sure that you are sure you want to do this. Because it's stressful.
Yeah.
It's very stressful. Um, every single day, there's people in your inbox trying to surrender cats or dogs to you. Every single day, there's people in your inbox that need your help doing something, and you have to make sure that you're sure you want to do this. Number two, I would say guard yourself from compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue is real.
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
I
you can't save them all, right?
You can't save them all, and I don't know, man. Seeing as much murder as I did growing up, a lot of stuff don't affect me. Um, like it would probably affect some. I've seen friends of mine on the ground with their head blown off, and you would think, I don't know. I didn't go to counseling or anything for that, but this might sound crazy to some. It might sound weird, but seeing animals hit by cars, seeing animals out there sick, I don't know. It bothers me more than
Yeah,
it.
it
It
bothers
just
me more than
it
people.
bothers me. It bothers me to the core.
Yeah,
And I don't, I get some people like, how can you care more about an animal than you do people? And I don't think that's true for me.
because I can't remember last time a cat picked up a gun and did a drive by
I
or
don't.
dealt
I
drugs
do.
or
I do a lot
killed.
for people. I do a lot for people. I just don't advertise that. Um, but the biggest point and argument I make when I get that, and I don't get that a lot. Every now and then I get that. It's because we have choices. We can change our lives and better our lives. You don't like where you live, move. You don't like the job you got, get another one. They don't have that choice. They just have to go with the flow. And I think that's why I feel more connected to animals. And I think that's why, I live my life by Proverbs 12:10. Righteous man will help the need of his animals. The third thing I would tell them is to to watch out for the hate because it's definitely gonna come. Um, if you're out here working and just trying to save animals, I don't care how righteous you're trying to be, how much good you're trying to do, there's going to be a group of people that's going to hate on you. They're going to stir up mess. They're going to lie on you. They're going to slander your name. I would tell them, don't worry about them as long as they're not affecting you personally, as trying to harm you personally. Just let it roll off you and keep going. Because my motto is eventually they're gonna fade away. They're gonna fade away in the wind. Fourth thing I would tell them is never stop, no matter what. You know, make plans. I've made plans to, if I do have an untimely demise, I've already made plans of where my four boys will go. They'll stay with a friend of mine who's a nurse. Um, I've already got a group of women in place to where if I do have an untimely demise, they'll take over my routes. Um, the ark will be left in good hands with my sister and my nephew, and my work will go on here. So nothing will miss a beat. The cats I feed every day will continue to be fed. If I died tonight, the cats will be fed tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. My four boys will move into a new home. They'll have to adjust, but I know they'll be taken care of, and all the animals here will be taken care of. So I would say make a plan, because it's too many times I've seen people die that was out
Yeah.
here doing this, and they was just their animals was just left to fend for self. The last
Um,
thing I think I would tell them would be, um, stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself, no matter if you have 6 followers on Instagram or you got 6 million. Don't let it change you. Stay true to yourself, and just continue to keep it about the animals. Always keep it about the animals, and I don't think you can lose.
no, no, I don't think so either. The arc. Talk to us about the arc now. Now, is the arc something you're planning? You're trying to start, or is it something that you have already established? You mentioned the 17 cats at your house, but you want to get a sanctuary going, right? Is that's your long term goal is to have a sanctuary, right?
Well, what that was I was living in a 2 bedroom. I was renting, and so I had me and my four boys, and I'm always rescuing, and I have no more room. So I started that GoFundMe, and I let everybody know, when I say sanctuary, I mean like acres and acres and acres of land. You got to start small. So basically, this past June, I was able to raise enough money to purchase a place that's it's a pretty big place, to enough to hold. I got cats in 3 bedrooms downstairs, and I got them separated by location. I got my KFC room, uh, which 5 cats are in there from KFC. I got my Zaxby's room, Mama and Kitty Boy. They come from Zaxby's. Those are the two feline leukemia. I don't know. We just got good news this morning that Mama may not be positive for feline leukemia. So she was tested. She was tested in June. Her and her daughter, they were tested in June. They tested positive. I took her yesterday. They did blood work. Doctor called me today and said she tested negative. They'll do a PCR test next week to it's more accurate. So I got the cat section off by where they come from. Then I got a mixture in the garage with Blackie and Lamar and Brittany and Dougie. They just come from all over Bessemer, but I slow introduce them. When I bring a new cat in, I'll put two really big dog crates together and say I'll put that new cat in those two big dog crates. And Blackie and Lamar and Brittany, they'll all walk around the crate for a couple of days. And, once I feel like it's safe, I'll release them. But so the sanctuary that on that GoFundMe, that's the ark, that's this place.
Okay.
Got the privacy fence built. I got my guys who are gonna start, they've been super busy, but they're gonna build this building in the back, that I'll be able to have dogs, and it won't be like a ton of dogs, but occasionally 3 or 4 dogs, that I rescue, like Tiger. If I had that up at that point, Tiger could have came here instead of having to go to a foster. But they'll build this building that will have heat and air, electricity, and it'll have 2 doggy doors, so they'll be able to come and go. Got the doggy, I mean the 8 foot privacy fence up, and I'm gonna put the rolling bars around the fence so no coyote can jump over, or vice versa.
Right. That's something you mentioned, coyotes. I got to be honest with you. Me and my wife. When I was at the apartment complex I mentioned before, we had a colony of cats. We took care of a colony for 2 years. Um, I love possums. I love possums. I didn't like raccoons because raccoons were a little bit too aggressive, so I chased them out. But we got word of a coyote that was coming around, and I don't know if this is right or wrong. I'm just going to tell you what I did. I don't really like coyotes too much. I don't. Um, so I made a little what I call the press don't surprise, and I tracked them down to where you could see the track was. You could follow they had a track where they were going from. The coyotes were running, and I went up there and I left it there. I was trying to save my colony. I didn't want my colony to be attacked, and I did that. I don't know if it's the morally right thing to do. I know what a Prestone bomb was for, but it was down. I guess someone if asked me if what would you rather do? Would you rather save a cat or a coyote? I'm gonna save a cat 100 times. Um, but yeah, I don't like coyotes too much. I tell you one thing. I bet you are too. I bet you're an indoor cat advocate now, aren't you? You don't like outdoor cats. You like your cats indoors, right?
You mentioned indoor. I mean, you mentioned outdoor while you trying to adopt a cat. For me, conversation is over. Like,
Uh,
we're not gonna. I'm not gonna waste your time anymore. Don't want you to waste my time. I've had people reach out to me. That number could easily be that 149 could easily be in the 300s for cats adopted. But I'm not adopting to anybody. It's not a race for me to see who can adopt the most cats. I'd rather keep it at 149 for the next 10 years if it has to be.
all indoors.
But I'm not adopting to anybody who, I don't care if you just say, oh, they'll just go out for a walk, for 5 minutes. No, it's not happening.
No.
Like you mentioned that, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a very fierce indoor only advocate. Uh, I don't like cats outdoors. Um, they're not supposed to go outdoors. They're indoors. There's just too many predators out there. There's just you tell people that, well, they like to get outside. They get back in nature, their instincts. Yeah, well, that's why my cat's going to be 15 years old and your cat's going to be dead by 2.
Mm.
And then and the funny thing is, those like what kills me is like I go to Facebook groups, right? All these cat Facebook groups, and then you have some poor asshole, and I'm saying that some asshole will be out there saying, "I just lost my little Fluffy because he got hit by a car." Well, you know what? You didn't deserve Fluffy. You didn't deserve him at all. He didn't deserve to be with you. If you love your animal, if you love your cat, keep him indoors, keep him safe. It pisses me off, Calvin. That probably pisses me off more than anything else about cat owners is the ones that let their cats roam free. It's like you said, I'll just they'll stick around, they'll stay around. I saw that before too. I saw some guy who said, "I just let my cat stand out here with me," and I said, the first time there's a thunderstorm, your cat's never coming back. And you know what? Not more than 6 months later, Calvin, this is exactly what happened to him. He was standing outside with his cat. Thunderstorm hit out there. It thirst crack. He ran. Never found him. Me and my wife, we looked for him for 7 days. He was like, I don't know how this happened. Um, Cats belong indoors. Um, uh, so you got some media attention flowing your way. What was the first time you got noticed for your work?
Um, probably our best news anchor in Alabama. Her name is Janet Hall. Hi, Janet. Hope you see this. Her name is Janet Hall. She had done it a long time for WBRC 6. She is the first person that ever interviewed me. It was around Thanksgiving time. Matter of fact, it aired Thanksgiving Eve. Um, I did a turkey giveaway um, in Bessemer where we gave away and fed 40 families, as well as she interviewed me about the cat rescue and how it all started with Henry and things of that nature. So she was the first one to interview me, and then local news um, interviewed me, radio stations, a couple of magazines, things of that nature, and then the dodo reached out to me about a dog I rescued here in Alabama named Wrinkles, and it was a write up. And then they did another feature on me, just about Henry and all the other animals I had rescued, and that kind of blew it up right there.
Yeah, you have a very passionate following on Instagram.
Man, I got the best. I got the best followers in the world. The best. I don't even like to call them followers. I call them my family or my team. I don't
Yeah.
really like to call them followers, but I know I got the best people behind me. Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't do this without them. Not on this scale. I could do what I was doing at first, working two jobs, like, feeding 15, 16 and vetting, one or two here, but not as many. Man, I spent 22K last year on vet bills alone.
Yeah.
22K.
Um,
That come from the help.
some of those vet places are shockingly not so helpful. You had a really nasty encounter with one I saw. I actually thought that I thought, well, I have a feeling Doom's going to come by and pay this this guy a visit. Um,
The one that hit the dog.
yes, yeah. I was surprised. I was surprised he was able to walk away. I thought, well, he's going to lose his. I hope he loses. I hope he keeps his cool because I'm not so sure I could have. If I would have saw that, I'm not so sure
If
I would have.
you remember the live video, I was
Yeah,
real close to losing it.
yeah,
I
you
was
were real close.
I was real close, but then I thought about, especially when he was like, "Are you threatening me?" I thought about, man, if you go ahead and do what you want to do, that's it. Like everything, your four cats, they're gonna go stay with this lady, and you're gonna have to get people. So I just had to, but
That was, I mean, the doctor came out with, and the thing that it was just like, wow, just how the doctor came out there was apologizing, and it's just like, I'm like, wow, how could you let a guy affect your business that way? Because she brought him thousands of dollars in business, and it all vanished in one afternoon. And it's
man,
just
I
like,
had
yeah,
another vet that I really like now that I use. And I just started using another one closer to here, so I don't have to. If I have an emergency here, um, like I'm trying to trap this cat that was almost attacked by an owl. I'm worried about him because
yeah,
it's
I
two
saw
cats.
that.
Yes, two cats showed up, and I started feeding them, and I see both cats on the security camera all night long, like all night long, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m. And the one that we saw the owl swoop down, it was close to us too, like literally 10 yards away. After the owl swooped down, and he was huge. I think it was a great horn owl. It was huge.
Yeah.
Um, we saw the cat afterwards, but it was at a distance. So I don't know if he was bleeding or anything. I hadn't seen him on video all night after that, seeing him live about 9 o'clock last night. I hadn't seen him on video none today, only the black cat. So I've been, I had the trap set all day with my nephew here. I don't believe in leaving traps set and unattended. I don't do that.
I commented on that before you got here about how to trap, leave traps to you. You never leave traps behind. You always, if you can't catch the animal you're trying for, you got to just pick up your trap and come back the next
Call
day.
it a night. If I don't get them, my trap comes with me because the last thing you want is you leave that trap overnight, you trap that cat, and some idiot comes by and gets the trap in the cat. Screw the trap. We worried about what's inside the precious cargo inside the trap. So I never ever leave a trap, even while I'm in here now. The trap is outside by my car, but I shed it before I came and got live with you because I knew I was going to be on here for a while, and I don't want him out there in the trap. It could start raining. Um, Pack of dogs. Who knows? If I'm not there in my car watching that trap, I'm not going to set it.
Right. Um, how do you build a speaking of traps and whatnot? I was mentioning about the shelters. The warming shelters. How do you build a warming shelter? What do you when you if someone wanted to sit there and say, I want to put a shelter out for a cat. I got a tub and I got some blankets and pillowcases and whatnot. But how do you build a good shelter that will help a cat?
I get mine donated by this group of lady here, Animal League of Birmingham. Shout out to them. But they're really simple to make, and the way they make theirs is, they get the really big, the styrofoam coolers. They tape the top down so the top can't come off. They'll cut a hole in the middle in the front, and they'll put straw in it, wheat straw. You can't use pine straw. You don't use hay. Hay won't retain the heat. Plus, it get wet. Excuse me. And you never want to use sheets or towels or things like that because that don't retain the heat as well. So to make one is really simple. You just get a super large, extra large styrofoam crate. Some people line it with like the aluminum stuff. Not I don't know if it's foil, but it's the stuff that comes in packing that helps retain heat and help retain cold or whatever. They'll sometimes line it with that, and then they'll put the wheat straw in. But the ones I use are just a really simple, just extra large coolers with a hole in it. And some places I'll cut another hole in the back so they'll have an escape route if there's a dog that comes in. Because a lot of cats won't get into them if it's just one hole because they feel entrapped. So, I'll put another hole behind it in the corner. So if they are in there and there's a predator that comes up, they got an escape route and they're not trapped.
Um, uh, if people want, we're going to put this information down below as soon as we're done. But if people want to help out your rescue, I mean, there are various ways that they can help out, right?
They can go to my Instagram and click the link in my bio, and there I have different ways to help. They can Cats gotta eat. I feed over 100 every day, so I'm always needing cat food, wet and dry. They can go to my Amazon wish list. Um, like I said, I spent 22K last year in vet bills, and I think I'm gonna surpass that.
Yeah.
yesterday, the vet that does the most volume for me, uh, one of the vets there's three different vets, and she was joking with me. She was like, Kevin, we got to name a room Black Noah or something because I'm not gonna lie, you keep our lights on. And I kind of found that funny, but I probably take 3 or 4 animals a week to a vet, so and it's all rescues. So they can go to my link in my bio. And I have my PayPal set up there. They can donate for PayPal. All proceeds definitely goes 100% to the vetting of the animals or cat or dog food or supplies.
My friend Karen Jones is going to be contacting you. And look for her name. Her name's Karen Jones, and
Aaron
she's going to be
Jones.
contacting. Yeah, she'll be contacting you because she wants to help out. And she said before the show to let you know that, and so I'm letting you know that. And I've already talked to Karen. Like I said, Karen's also a rescuer based in Georgia, and I've interviewed her before as well. Actually, she was my first animal rescue interview, and yeah, it's God's work. You guys are definitely doing. She mentioned that she would like to help out. Um, Is there any questions? I know I've ignored the chat because I've been so involved with this. And my eyes are a little funky tonight. Um, so
How do I see the chat? Like, is there a way for me to see the chat? Do I click on the chat little thing?
yeah, that might take you to it for sure.
Okay, I see it, but I don't see y'all. But okay, all right, cool.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and open up the forum. I'm going to ask people if they have questions. I'm sure they probably have been. I'll probably have to go back and write questions and send them to you, or you can watch the replay. And then, but if you have questions for Calvin, please feel free to drop them. Um, uh, have you ever run across a cheetah before, Calvin, in your work? Have you ever seen a cheetah?
No,
Any
I haven't.
exotic?
I haven't. But
I
I'm
have a
pretty
cheetah. I own a cheetah.
really.
Yeah, I have a cheetah. Uh,
Wow.
he, yeah, he's pretty amazing. He's on my Instagram page. You probably saw him. I have a picture of him. He's laying on top of me, and that's generally where he sleeps at during the wintertime.
Where do you live? Where do you live at?
I live in Michigan. I live about 30 miles south of Detroit.
Okay.
But
Wow.
I've been to Detroit enough to see the same thing you saw in Bessemer. I it was a hard question because I really wanted to know, and I don't shy away from hard questions. I wanted to know if it was, about, was it a cultural thing? It's like, why do I see this? Why are you experiencing what you're experiencing?
Yes, sir.
But you're honest. You laid it right on out. You weren't shy of the question. It helps us all to understand it. Let's see. See some questions here. Uh, he is a jungle cat, Mr. Bones. Paladin is a cheetah. He may not be. He's a hybrid. He's part cheetah and he's part British Shorthair. But he is cheetah. He's been clocked at 47 miles an hour.
Wow.
Um, yes. I got to show him the cheetah. Yeah. Let me see if I can get the cheetah. I think he's probably sleeping. I think I can get him. Would like to see the cheetah. I'll get the cheetah.
Wow. This man has a cheetah. Amen to no outdoor rule. Absolutely. Yes, that's right. You got me as a follower. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm just reading the comments, y'all. Hope everybody out there doing okay.
All right.
Here comes the cheetah.
Speaking of cheetahs, um, have you ever been bitten or scratched so far in your work?
enough, enough not to take it. Enough to know not to take it personal.
Um, Paladin got outside once. That was my carelessness. And when I went to get him back, he grabbed onto my hand, and I had 23 puncture wounds in my hand. I have 4 scars on my hand from when he clawed me.
Mm.
And like I said, he's not full grown. I mean, he's not like a full cheetah, but you can definitely see that he looks just like one. Hi.
Yeah, I saw him. I saw him. Yeah, I saw him.
Cheetahs are hard to hold. Uh, so do you have to? You said before not to take it personal. Have you ever? Has it mostly been defensive? Have you ever had anybody? Have you ever had anybody sick a dog on you?
Nah, nah, no dogs. Got a assault rifle pulled on me before, but nobody ever sick a dog on me.
Um, yeah. So I mean, it's you have to get vaccinated every year. You know, you have the rabies shots and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm up to date on all of that. Tetanus and my rabies shots, all that stuff.
Um, yeah. I mean, I think people are maybe a little surprised to find out that a cat bite is a lot worse than a dog bite, isn't it?
Absolutely, because a cat has way more bacteria in their mouth, and their fangs are so much smaller. The bite wound will close up almost immediately, leaving the bacteria trapped up under the skin. And it's I'd rather get bit by a dog 7 out of 7 days than a cat.
Yeah.
A dog
Cat
bite,
bites are
a
not
dog.
fun.
I've gotten bit by I got attacked by a pit bull. I was trying to rescue him. He was laying on the side of the road, and he wasn't moving. I thought his legs was broke. Even when I approached him, he didn't move. I sat down by him. He let me rub his backside. He still wouldn't stand up. Put some food in a bowl by his mouth. He started eating the food laying down. I'm like, man, I got to get this dog to the hospital, to the clinic. So I did the cardinal sin and put my hand up by his head, and
Yeah.
yeah,
You,
I ended up in the hospital that night getting about, I don't know, 20 some stitches, and I left the hospital and went back and tried to rescue the dog.
uh, he had food guarding issues. That's that's a killer. That's a killer. That actually is one of the main reasons what kills animals in shelters is food guarding. Um, you can if you rescue a dog and then you bring him in there before I didn't realize this. Uh, I didn't realize this. We rescued our colony cat. We took it to the shelter, and then later on we found out that they had euthanized it, and I was very upset, very very upset, and I found out what happened was, we had written a note about it. She's not a social cat. She's more like a farm cat. This and that. But they mentioned that before they adopt any animal out, they have to be able to assume they have to be sure that it can be handled by a person. Otherwise, the shelter could be held liable. And so that's what happens with a lot of dogs. Unfortunately, they have food guarding issues, and they can be the sweetest dog there is. And I'm sure that dog was sweet, but he hadn't eaten in a while, and so he was scared that you were going to take away his food, and that's why he attacked you. Um,
After the hospital, I went right back to get him.
yeah,
So I don't take that stuff, man. I would do it too if I was a dog. I don't know you.
well,
You're
yeah.
strange. You're a strange person. I don't know what you're gonna do, so I'm gonna
Well,
defend myself.
no, they have to compete for resources. Not everybody's going to come by and give them a bowl of food. And
Exactly.
so I'm sure that was the first meal he had in a very long time, and he was starving, and he was scared that you were going to take the food away, and
Right.
and that's why he did it.
Right.
Karen mentions, do you have aspirations to expand, or as far as getting into helping some other has some getting some laws changed? Laws, no, laws change. I think that's probably laws. Or do you prefer to keep doing what you're doing?
I'm just taking it one day at a time and letting God open the doors as it comes. Um, yeah, I would love to help change some laws, and if that's God's will, it's gonna happen. But just know this: I'm gonna be out here every day fighting for them, getting them off these chains. As far as the dogs, and trying to make it a better place in Bessemer, Alabama for dogs. So I will be fighting my fight. My fight may be different right now, but absolutely, I'm so down with, we got to get legislation changed so we can help these animals.
Yeah, I think it changes because like I said before, it's like it's taken so long now. Just now we're now starting to see felonies on coming on the books now. Animal abuse now is being treated as a serious felony as it should. You
As it
know,
should.
and no
So
longer can you shoot a cat with a bow and arrow and expect you to walk away with it. One guy shot a cat with a bow and arrow. He got 8 years federal time.
good,
He'll do every day of that sentence too.
good.
Um, yep.
And I hope it's
Uh,
the hardest 8 years he ever have to endure.
I hope so too. I do think I'm not sure about that, but I like to think inside prison they apply the same rules for child molesters as for animal abusers,
Right.
because to
I
me
hope so.
it's one and the same. It's one and the same.
Right. Excuse me.
Uh, let's see. See, Jennifer rescued a dog. It took them about a year to become friends with it, um, because of his food issues, but he overcame that, and Peanut's in a good home now. Let's see, Karen saying, I only asked because I know someone who you might want to talk to because he's been helping a county here in Georgia. Yeah, you guys need to hook up. Karen and you, Calvin, need to hook up. Um, she'll leave her email address inside your message on your Instagram.
Awesome.
Um, oh my gosh, I mean, how many requests do you get on to help? Do people How many times do people reach out to you through Instagram or your phone number and they say I found a dog, I found a cat, what do I do?
It's
Oh
every day, all day, nonstop. No exaggeration. I may get 150 messages a day, divided up between Instagram, um, and Facebook. Make easily 150, 175, and it's yeah, it's so many to where depends on how my day went. I might not see those messages for another 3 or 4 days.
yeah,
I try to check every message, and in the beginning I was trying to help every person, and that's when I've experienced compassion fatigue for the first time ever, because there was never no. It was always going to be yes. Where uh, I've this these are real life scenarios. I've had people sit in a car 5 yards away from a cat that was like had his head out of the drain looking out. Take a picture of the cat, and they say, "Hey, a cat is in the drain," and or and then I would drive 30 minutes to try to rescue this cat when they're like 5 yards away. It was always yes. And I just was getting burned out because, man, I was driving all over Alabama, like literally hour and 30 minutes to help a cat when this person was right there and could have helped the cat. And I never forget, this lady told me, "You're no good to the animals if you're dead or if you have a stroke or a heart attack." She
yeah, or
said you're,
burnout.
you're she said you're killing yourself. And the day I knew I had to change some things was I went to the ER. I had this headache that just wouldn't stop. Nothing would make it go away. And the nurse told me my blood pressure was 294 over 156. And she said, "You should be stroked out right now. Like, you must have a praying family or something because you should be having a stroke." So they immediately gave me some lisinopril, like 40 milligrams of lisinopril. And I never forget, that lady told me, "You got to make these people put skin in the game. Every
Yeah,
time somebody call you saying, 'Hey, there's a cat here or there's a dog here,' you jump in the car, you drive 45 minutes, hour and a half, 2 hours, you try to rescue this animal, and you're already busy enough. And it's like they don't care. They don't care about inconveniencing you more than you already are doing. They just don't want to inconvenience themselves."
yeah,
So she told me, "Make them put some skin in the game." So now that's what I do. When they message me, unless it's just a real dire situation, dog is on the chain and, I see sores and it's totally being abused, then I'm going. Like, whether I'm inconvenienced or not, I'm going. But if it's a person that'll message me, and most of them are, "Hey, there's a cat that living in a shed. There's a family of cats that's living in my shed in my backyard, right? In my backyard. I heard about you. Can you come trap them and get them?" And I'll tell them, "I'll bring you some traps. I'll loan you some traps. I'll show you how to work them. I will help you get them homes. We can trap them together if you foster them. and then we'll network them and get them homes. And then it's like I never hear back from them because I just involved them into the rescue. And I jump for joy when I get that rare person that's like, hey, that's all I need is a trap. If you show me how to trap, and they always come back and they'll text me or something and say, hey man, I caught the cat yesterday. And like, that makes me feel good right there. Like they're the ones that's in it for real. But a lot of people just want
They,
you to do everything.
yeah, yeah. They don't want to put. They don't want to. They'll be glad to yell about it, but not do anything to help out.
Right.
Uh, any last rounds for questions for Calvin before we let him go because he's got to be up early tomorrow morning. So if you have any questions or whatnot, and also too, if you have questions, you can also leave them in the comments below. If in case you come by or share this out with your friends, I'll make sure that all your questions get sent to him, including how to donate to his fight because his fight is our fight in actuality. It helps us all. Um, yeah, I got a couple bots in here. Take care of that. Calvin, I want to thank you so much for coming out and talking to us. I definitely want you to have you come back. I'm really honored to meet you. It is an honor. This is probably easily the most important show that I've done. Um, so this is on my YouTube channel. So I do appreciate it. It's not very, like I said, it's not very often you get to actually meet a real live hero, and I do appreciate your time and whatnot. And thank you for your candor. And we'll stay in touch. And and anything I can do to help out, I will definitely do. Uh, if there's if you have any sort of fundraising event or big event coming up there, let me know. Want me to talk, to publicize it? Let me know that too, and we'll do that. Um, yeah, this has been real awesome. I'd like to thank everybody in the chat that came out to support this interview. I can't thank you enough. Couldn't do this without you. And yeah, we'll do this again sometime soon. Next in the next year. Um,
Hey, Patrick, I appreciate you inviting me on, man. I appreciate it. And I just want to say thanks, man, for having me and look forward
yeah,
to doing it again.
yes, sir. Um, I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And I'll probably have half my crowd will be here tomorrow night because of my bobble. But tomorrow we'll be talking to actress Sherry Davis from the Amityville Moon. We're gonna do round two because we tried to do her interview on Tuesday and she had tech problems. So we're gonna see if we can't do it tomorrow night. Uh, we'll see you guys at 8 o'clock. Stay right where you're at, Calvin, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace. And of course, this is fun.